Imagine for a moment life in a state of lightness and mental clarity, where memory doesn't feel like a distant shadow and energy flows with ease. Now, consider the role that sugar plays in this. Contrary to the popular belief that sugar is merely a harmless indulgence, it reveals itself as a major protagonist in our health story, often misleading us with its deceptive sweetness. In a world saturated with conveniences and instant pleasures, it's easy to get lost among the temptations that appear around every corner, from the quick breakfast to the afternoon snack, all washed down with a generous dose of sugar. This chapter of modern life often leads us to question, how often do we let ourselves be carried away by the sweet appeal, even aware of its consequences? It's as if we are constantly in a battle between momentary desire and long-term health. What many of us ignore is that sugar is not just a fuel. It behaves like a silent enemy, infiltrating our body and accelerating a process we all want to avoid: aging. Excessive sugar intake is not only a path to the appearance of aging, but also affects how we feel and function cognitively. Studies have shown that regular sugar consumption is linked to a cascade of inflammatory processes that affect not only our skin, but also the clarity of our thoughts. As the body deals with excess sugar, it releases inflammatory substances that can harm neural synapses, which are essential for memory and cognition. Living in a sugar cycle can be difficult to break, especially when the rewards seem so sweet. The temporary feeling of pleasure can easily overshadow the more damaging consequences. However, this does not have to be our destiny. It's not about eliminating sugar completely and living a life of deprivation, but about taking a conscious step toward understanding its impact. By embracing a 14-day journey to reduce sugar, we can not only explore new forms of nutrition, but also regain control over our eating habits, and consequently, over our health. This journey is not just about what we leave behind. It is, in fact, about what we can rediscover. It's an opportunity to relearn the true flavor of foods, to reconnect with the simple pleasures that nature offers us, such as juicy fruits and other nutritious ingredients. As we venture into this experience, we carry the hope of experiencing not only tangible physical benefits, but a renewing sense of life and well-being. Each of us has the capacity to make significant and lasting changes. By reflecting on our relationship with sugar and committing to these 14 days of healthy experiences, we begin to tread a path toward a more vibrant version of ourselves. It is a gift we offer ourselves and a step toward a more balanced life, full of vitality. What could you achieve by accepting this challenge? On this first day of the journey, when the idea of moving away from sugar becomes a reality, a storm of emotions may arise. Breaking the cycle is challenging, but also liberating. Some may recall childhood moments when a chocolate bar was a reward for an effort, a light heart, an instant smile. Sweetness wrapped us in an embrace of comfort and nostalgia. However, as we grow, many of these memories become subtle traps. They are reinforced by virtually omnipresent marketing that makes the act of consuming sugar feel like a prize rather than a burden. It is essential, therefore, to create a safe space, a journal, for example, where one can reflect on these feelings. Each entry is an opportunity to recount the story of the personal relationship with sugar, highlighting how each sweet moment influenced life. In this space, one might discover that the first sweetened cup of coffee in the morning was not just a part of the routine, but a ritual that symbolized the beginning of a new day. And so, by revisiting these habits, we can contextualize and therefore understand the depth of this connection. As we move forward, on the second day, we may encounter the challenges that arise. Sudden cravings, intense desires, may confront us with the reality. The sweetness of the previous presence now builds as a shadow. But it is precisely at this moment that our relationship with food has the chance to transform. We initiate a conscious movement to replace these temptations with alternatives that also vibrate with flavor and nutrition. How about exploring the freshness of a crisp apple or the smoothness of natural banana mash? These pure flavors offer a real sweetness without the side effects of refined sugar. Discovering that every fruit, Every piece of vegetable has a unique composition of flavor and nutrients, is like opening a new door in a house known for a long time. By doing this, we begin to realize that, although sugary indulgences seem irresistible, they have nothing to do with genuine happiness. True satisfaction can, in fact, reside in a delicious board of colorful fruits or a dish of roasted vegetables, where the natural sweetness is enhanced by the heat of the oven. Science begins to support us in this new journey. Scholars have shown that by altering our flavor preferences, we can gradually reprogram our palate. A notable study reveals that after a few weeks of sugar reduction, participants reported an aversion to excessive sweetness, turning to the other side of the coin, seeking more balanced and healthy alternatives. These first 2 days are an invitation to reflection and adaptation. This 14-day journey is not just about resisting sugar, but it is about turning to the deeper and truer pleasures that food can offer. By trying these new alternatives, perhaps we may rediscover a part of our being that was dormant, a capacity to appreciate the flavors of life in their essence, allowing them to become the protagonists of our story. Mixing challenges and discoveries, we are just beginning to see the transformation that is possible in our lives as we allow ourselves to clear the table of sugar and fill it with colors, textures, and nutrients. This is a journey that not only promises us a healthier body, but promises to reconnect us with the joy of food and with the full experience of the now. Let's imagine what else we can discover in these coming days. On the 3rd day of our journey, a new kind of awareness begins to form. The cravings, which may have been so intense during the first moments, begin to subside and transform into a visceral curiosity for alternatives. As our blood sugar levels stabilize, the possibility of adjustment arises. This 8th wonder of nature, the beautiful world of spices, introduces us to new flavors we never ventured to explore. We begin to question, what if the true pleasure of a morning breakfast wasn't entirely in a generous handful of sugar, but in the addition of a pinch of cinnamon or a vibrant touch of ginger? These spices not only enrich our food, but they possess properties with anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. Cinnamon, for example, is known to help regulate blood sugar levels and improve insulin sensitivity, while ginger stands out as an excellent ally for digestion. Introducing them into our diet is not only a way to reduce sugar dependence, but also to nourish our body with compounds that improve our general health. On this day, perhaps we try a cooked oatmeal, now adorned with a pinch of cinnamon, slices of natural banana, and a handful of nuts. The flavor is surprisingly complex, a combination of subtle sweetness that does not compare to any refined sugar, but which soothes the essence of comfort we so crave. As we chew each mouthful, we become more aware of the way our palates adapt. This training of our flavor perception allows us to see that fresh fruits are not just simple formulas of natural sugar, but a celebration of textures and aromas that recognize us in our diversity, reflecting the beauty of nature. Day 4. The first week begins to take shape, and now we are not alone on this adventure. Every movement, every choice made in this small diary about the changes in our eating habits creates a common story. In a safe and welcoming space, we begin to share our experiences with friends or family, and the importance of support makes us more resilient. It can be easy to feel isolated or discouraged, but knowing that others are in the same struggle brings comfort and motivation. The group transforms into a microcosm of our concerns and victories, a network where we not only exchange recipes, but also laughter and encouragement. Sometimes, surprising personal stories emerge from other people who have made similar journeys. In one account, Laura shared how, after months of struggling with sugar dependence, she managed to transform her approach into an act of self-love. By starting to reduce sugar, she began to create her own desserts, using ripe avocados in mousse recipes or turning dates into natural energy boosters. Each creation became a gesture of self-care, a reminder that she had the power to change her health and well-being. In this emotional connection, the journey goes from a simple personal effort to a celebration of collective transformations. The daily act of cooking is not just a means of sustenance, but a practice of connection, and creation. By gathering those who support us, we begin to build something that transcends the individual, creating a chain of support that encourages us to maintain the pace. As we approach the end of the first week, we have managed to distance ourselves from compulsion. The cravings, which seemed like dark shadows following us, now convert into reflections. The mind clears, energy begins to flow in a more balanced way, and the personal discoveries about our body and palate are infinite, blossoming before our eyes. On this fifth day, we set out to explore new recipes, such as energizing and healing salads that go beyond green leaves, incorporating vibrant beets, sunflower seeds, and creamy avocados. Meals become not just an act of nourishing the body, but a way to feed our soul. On our sixth day, we may begin to notice fluctuations in emotions that might surprise each of us. As the sugar cycle slowly disappears, an emotional intensity can arise, a reflection of our previous relationship with food. Sometimes this transition is accompanied by anxiety, as if a part of us were trying to rescue pleasures from the past. It is crucial to remember that these emotions are valid. Having space to feel and process what happens within us is an integral part of this growth. Upon reaching the seventh day, it is as if a curtain is about to lift, revealing a new perspective. Mental clarity, focus, and energy are tangible. It's not just about sugar, but the lessons we are learning about self-awareness and connection. We become aware that food is only one part of our daily construction of sustainable happiness and health. Thus, this 14-day journey transforms into a legacy, a story that doesn't end here, but unfolds into a continuous cycle of learning, discovery, and growth. As we begin to glimpse the lasting effects this challenge brings, the question that echoes in our minds is, what more can we achieve by opening our hearts to this new life, as authors of our own narrative? This transformation is not just about cutting or reducing. It is an eternal search for authenticity in a world that often makes us attached to sweetness. It is a path towards a deep love for ourselves and the food we choose to nourish our body and mind. This journey, with all its ups and downs, brings a glimpse of a more vibrant and healthier future, full of new stories to tell. On the eighth day, the challenges and victories, both small and large, begin to intertwine in a curious way. The renewed energy we felt in previous days now seems like a constant, a new backdrop upon which we are starting to paint a new life. As the mind adjusts, the body also becomes lighter, allowing the mind to flourish in its fullest form. The anxiety that sometimes tormented us transforms into something tangible, a learning experience about ourselves that is unfolding as we follow this journey. Thus, in the search for new alternatives, we can look with curiosity at whole grains, which are far from being just a resource in our pantry. They are rich sources of fiber, aids in the digestion process, and maintain stable blood sugar levels. Have you thought about how the simple act of switching white flour for whole wheat flour in recipes can not only enrich the flavor, but also provide an explosion of nutrients? Whole grain bread, for example, can be an ally in building a solid base for breakfast, nourishing the body generously and in a balanced way. The ninth day is marked by an unexpected discovery, the power of superfoods. What once seemed only a food trend now proves to be an ally in our mental and physical health. Quinoa, chia, and even the magical spirulina, with its vibrant green, enter the scene as protagonists amidst a renewed menu. Studies have shown that these foods are incredible sources of antioxidants and essential fatty acids, which not only nourish our body, but are also friends to the heart and brain. By mixing them into colorful salads, which may include edamame and grated carrots, we bring life to dishes that are true feasts of nutrients. Rediscovering texture and flavors can be as gratifying as a chocolate cake. Who would have thought that a bowl of quinoa can also be a welcome card to a new richness of life, flavor, and well-being? On the 10th day, intense reflection leads us to realize how we are shaped by our past experiences. The awareness about sugar and how it influenced our journey becomes a powerful lesson. In a moment of honesty, perhaps one remembers a special occasion, such as the afternoon snack with friends, full of delicious sweets and bridesmaids. This social ritual, wrapped in laughter and pleasure, now transforms into a space for broader discussions about health and food choices. Sharing these memories can make them more meaningful, not as deprivations, but as changes that will reflect in a healthier future. On the 11th day, the accumulation of small victories gains renewed strength. Now perhaps you have a new understanding of the concepts of satiety and fullness. While physical and emotional hunger used to lead us to seek sugar as an escape, we begin to realize that we can discover pleasure in other forms. Conscious chewing, for example, transforms each meal into a ritual of appreciation. Focusing on the texture of the food, the freshness of the ingredients, and the intensity of the flavors becomes a new path of gratification. On the 12th day, the new relationship with food begins to reformulate those moments that were previously filled by sugar. Desserts, which used to be part of the routine, are now being rethought. Instead of sugary cakes, one can create a delicious avocado mousse with bitter cocoa, naturally sweetened with honey or dates. This has become a genuine and fun way to nourish oneself and, at the same time, a way to strengthen bonds with friends and family, reformulating the exchanges between all of us. As we reach the 13th day, a mix of pride and discovery envelops us. The ever-available alternatives allow us to see the open session of new recipes. Dinners have become moments of experimentation, where we challenge ourselves to prepare recipes in groups, exchanging ideas and laughter. The act of cooking transforms into sharing. Sitting at the table, every bite is a reminder of the new journey, a delight that is as satisfying as any sweet had been before. On the 14th day, the ending approaches, and it is full of reflections. It is not just about a 14-day journey. It is a new way of living. The mental clarity and energy flowing through us are results of more than just the simple reduction of sugar. We are building a new narrative, where health is celebrated in every meal, where every choice becomes an ode to a vibrant life. The strength acquired drives us to consider what else we can create and experience. By evaluating the steps taken, we recognize that we are one step closer to becoming the authors of our health stories. Each of us has a place at the table, a space to be nourished, not only with food, but also with love, support, and meaning. At the end of this journey, as we look towards the horizon of what lies ahead, we are reminded that each day is a new opportunity to choose, to nourish, and to love. And so, transformation is not a finish line, but a continuous space for growth, an invitation to explore a sweeter path, one that does not depend on sugar, but on the essence of what it means to live fully within them. On the 15th day, the journey transforms into a ritual of celebration, a place where life rediscovers itself in vibrant and colorful flavors. The cycle that began weeks ago, full of uncertainties and challenges, now catapults us into a brand new territory, that of full consciousness regarding nutrition. Every meal transforms into a moment of attention, a commitment to well-being that goes beyond what we can imagine. It is no longer just about cutting sugar. It is about cultivating new habits, planting the seeds of vibrant health. By exploring the nature of the foods that have already become friends and allies, we begin to ask ourselves how these choices affect our body and mind. It is fascinating to realize that the color of vegetables is not merely aesthetic, but a window to a world of nutrients. Vibrantly colored vegetables such as orange carrots, green broccoli, and purple beets are full of phytonutrients that play crucial roles in defending the body against diseases. Every bite is a celebration of health, a connection to the earth, a gift that nature offers us for our self-care. On this day, the act of cooking becomes almost meditative. Preparing a meal is now an opportunity for connection with oneself, a moment of reflection on the journey so far. When we chop onions, we feel the pungency that makes us cry, remembering that, just as onions have multiple layers, we also have our own layers to explore. Every seasoning we add to the pan is like a note in a symphony, adding to the melody of a healthy life. The kitchen transforms into a laboratory of experimentation, where we feel free to play with ingredients, aligning palate and nutrition. On the 16th day, the journey deepens into the food traditions that surround us. Looking back, we glimpse the richness of ancestral wisdom, where many foods were consumed in their natural and complete form. It is interesting to note how, in some cultures, refined sugar never occupied a central place in the diet. Instead, the natural sweetness of dried fruits and honey was what was used to sweeten daily life. By re-examining these practices, we find a source of inspiration. These stories lead us to realize that it is possible to live a sweet life without excess, using the sweetness of whole foods to bring joy and satisfaction to our tables. On this day, we can prepare a salad inspired by recipes from different parts of the world, Asian-style broccoli with sesame, or a Middle Eastern-style grain salad with pomegranate and walnuts. The contrasts of flavors and textures teach us that flavor should not be compensated with sugar at every bite, as the true joy of eating lies in the complexity of quality ingredients. This reinforces the idea that every culture adds a unique layer of richness to the global culinary literature. On the 17th day, the connection with what we are consuming deepens even further. We may notice how our palate becomes more sensitive and how our body responds to every food decision. That feeling of bloating after an overly sweet indulgence, which once seemed normal, is now a call to action. The body speaks, and it is our responsibility to listen. The elevated energy we feel after a healthy meal is a powerful reminder of the payoff offered to us when we make choices that nourish and not just fill. Scientific research becomes a pillar of continuous education. Information about the gut microbiota and its influence on our mental and physical health opens the doors to a new perspective. Fermented foods, such as yogurt, sauerkraut, and kombucha, become protagonists on our tables, not only for their unique flavor, but also for their beneficial properties. By introducing these foods, we initiate a true party in the gut, nourishing the intestinal flora that is linked to everything from digestion to mental health. On the 18th day, many of us can find support in the complete records of the previous days. The practice of keeping a food journal not only serves as a space to express emotions, but also becomes a reflection of the journey. Each page is a personal view of what we have learned, and this self-knowledge transforms into an act of empowerment. Reading and reviewing our notes encourages us to make more informed decisions in the future. By recalling the positive effects of the choices we have made, we begin to cultivate a cycle of gratitude for every step forward, no matter how small. As we approach the 19th day, social life begins to reconnect with new eating practices. Gatherings with friends, family lunches, and parties transform into opportunities to create a menu that resonates with the essence of this new self. Instead of shying away from sweet and processed foods, the proposal is to bring healthy alternatives to the table. Desserts, now vibrant and made from fresh fruit, become the perfect combination of joy and health. A sweet potato cocoa cake, sweetened with honey, becomes a highlight, a delicious way to surprise everyone and show that it is possible to create conscious delights. On the 20th day, the realization emerges that this transformation goes far beyond food. As sugar becomes a rare visitor in our diet, we begin to notice the mental clarity that was already before us. Interactions become richer and deeper. We can concentrate better on daily activities, and feelings of anxiety are softened. The world around us seems more vibrant, as if we had removed a grey filter that obscured our perception. The 21st day serves as a celebration of the transformation. It is an opportunity to reflect on the journey, not only in terms of eating habits, but in building a new relationship with food. What began as a challenge to reduce sugar has evolved into an invitation to celebrate life, to discover the pleasure in taking care of ourselves. It is these small daily victories, which soon intertwine to form a rich tapestry of experiences that truly define our journey. Looking towards the horizon of what lies ahead, the question that stands out is not, "Are you ready to go back?" but what more can we explore, create, and celebrate in our food life? The transformation is not limited to the end of the 21-day journey, but is inserted into a continuous commitment to not only nourish our bodies, but also feed our souls. In a way, this journey never had an end point, but rather a new beginning where the true sweetness of life is revealed not in industrial sweets, but in the richness of human experiences, health, and the love we put into every dish.